present our poster that is about sexual and asexual reproduction. The team members are Gael Cortez, J.D. Freire, Jimena Herrera, and Daniela Morales.
First, we're going to discuss what are sexual and asexual reproduction in living organisms. Living things use multiple different strategies for producing an offspring, but most strategies fall neatly into either sexual or asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, both parents contribute their genes, giving the offspring a set of chromosomes each, making the offspring to have twice the chromosome. This child will then have to reproduce the same way with another to produce more offspring. In asexual reproduction, the offspring is made genetically identical to the one parent it has. It recreates the one set of chromosomes identically to the daughter cells, which in turn will later reproduce themselves this same way.
Now, some examples of asexual reproduction can be binary fission, where one cell splits into two identical cells, budding, where a small part of the parent grows and separates to become a new organism, and fragmentation. A piece of an organism breaks off and grows into a complete individual. There's also sporulation, where special cells called spores are released and developed into new organisms.
So, what is the function of reproduction? Reproduction is a crucial biological process for species survival. It can be negatively affected by chemicals, radiation, and hazardous waste. Exposure to these harmful agents can lead to infertility, birth defects, miscarriages, and other serious health issues in both humans and animals. Here we're talking about the reproductivity, toxicity, endocrine disruption, and impact of industrial and agricultural chemicals on reproductive health.
Some examples of sexual reproduction are human, birds, fish, mammals, flowering plants, and of asexual reproduction are hydra, paramecium, starfish, planaria, mint plants, aphids, rotifiers, nematodes, some lizards, snakes, birds, sharks, reptiles, amphibians, and amoeba.
So, what are the different types of fertilization? The process of fusion of sperm with egg, the ovum, produces a zygote is called fertilization. It is the crucial and primary stage of sexual reproduction. During sexual intercourse, the penis ejaculates millions of sperm into the vagina of the woman. Sperms will travel through the uterus to the oviducts. At the oviduct, one out of 1 million sperms will travel through the uterus to the oviducts. Sperm fertilizes the released ovum. The fertilized egg develops into a zygote. Without the fusion of gametes, sexual reproduction is futile. It doesn't occur in asexual reproduction. In internal fertilization is different. The male inserts the semen into the female reproductive tract to fuse with the egg. If the fusion takes place within the female parent, it is called internal fertilization. In humans and most animals like cats, lions, pigs, dogs, hens, etc., the fusion of gametes takes place internally in this type. A zygote is formed within the mother and gets its nourishment from her. In external fertilization is when the fusion of sperm and egg takes place outside of the female parent. It is called external fertilization. Only a minority of organisms exhibit this type of gamete fusion, for example fish, frogs, and others. Here the female parent deposits her eggs in her external environment and later the male parent ejects his sperm over them, and then the fusion of the gametes takes place in the external environment. Gametes that fuse externally have to face many challenges, since eggs and sperms are deposited in the external environment. The chances of fusion are very less. Predators may eat the eggs or the zygote that is formed. To compensate for this loss, organisms like fish and frogs lay hundreds of eggs at a time.
Now, how are organisms classified based on their embryonic development? Most animal species undergo separation of tissues into germ layers during embryonic development. Recall that these germ layers are formed during gastrulation and that they are predetermined to develop into the animal's specialized tissues and organs. Animals develop either two or three embryonic germ layers. The animals that display radial symmetry develop two germ layers, an inner layer, which is called the endoderm, and an outer layer, which is called the ectoderm. These animals are called diploplasts. Diploblasts have non-living layer between the endoderm and the ectoderm. More complex animals, those with bilateral symmetry, develop three tissue layers: an inner layer, the endoderm, the outer layer, ectoderm, and a middle layer, the mesoderm. Animals with three tissue layers are called triploblasts. Each of the three germ layers is programmed to give rise to particular body tissues and organs. The endoderm gives rise to the lining of the digestive tract, which includes the stomach, intestines, liver, and pancreas, as well as to the lining of a few other structures. The ectoderm develops into the outer epithelium, covering the body surface, the central nervous system, and a few other structures. The mesoderm is the third germ layer. It forms between the endoderm and the ectoderm in triploblasts. This germ layer gives rise to all muscle tissues, including the cardiac tissues and muscles of the intestines, connective tissues such as the skeleton and blood cells, and most other visceral organs such as the kidneys and the spleen.
Um, Hi,